Why do women want to date older men? Typically, they own their mistakes and are confident in the choices that they've made in life. All those raging hormones have left the building, and you're pretty calm. You have quiet, distinguished power, and women feel safe around you.
I'm officially dating an older man, and it has been 2 months. And these are some of the things that I have noticed that have been absolutely fantastic.
Roll dudes.
Time since I've been on camera.
Really?
Like 3 months.
Come on, you can come in too. Both y'all. What's your name?
Karen, Karen.
What about you?
Abigail.
Now, are you guys involved, dating, single?
No, I'm taken. I have a boyfriend, and she's beautifully single.
Okay.
Yes.
How long have you been dating your boyfriend?
Almost a year. We're gonna hit our year anniversary in about 10 days.
Okay. And what about you? How long have you been single?
For 3 years.
Is that by choice or you just haven't found the right person?
Both by choice and haven't found the right person, yeah.
What is it that you're looking for in that person that you want to date and get in a relationship with?
To have goals, ambitions, to be faithful, honest,
stability, safety, reliability.
and I think that's about it.
What about you? So you've been in a relationship for a year. What was it about him that drew you to him or made you want to date him?
I think it's just a healthy foundation that we actually have overall. We're very honest, direct, and like she said, basically the same goals as she has for a partner. That's what I have. But on top of that, we just decided to go to couples counseling just to actually strengthen our foundation. We've been going to couples counseling for maybe 4 months now, and things have just been getting better and better as we've been really solidifying this healthy relationship, I'd say. Yeah.
Were you guys friends first or how did you guys meet?
We were actually friends first. We're colleagues. So he's actually a morning news anchor, and I was a weather anchor at the time.
Oh, really?
And we're just really good friends, and eventually that flourished into a healthy relationship.
So who asked who out first?
He did actually. He actually on my 30-day notice, I was about 29 days away from leaving, and he randomly just said, "Hey, I have a crush on you. What do you think?"
You declare your intentions quickly.
Okay.
I was kind of confused because I was going to move out of the area at the time. And I said, I don't know, but eventually I decided to give in and just give him a chance. And it was probably the best decision I've ever made.
Did you ever look at him that way prior to or not really?
I thought he was really attractive overall, but he was a really good person too. But in terms of a relationship, I just didn't know where that would stand because overall I was just thinking about my goals, career-wise.
So the other thing too is like, so you're single. If somebody met, and I'll ask you this too, if somebody met all those requirements but they were older than you, would you still consider them if they were, let's say, 10 or 15 years older?
That's hard because I've dated younger, older, my age. And
You dated both, younger and older?
I still haven't found that, but if like it were to check all the boxes, I think I would still give it a try. Like, why not? I feel like I have nothing to lose.
Okay.
So yeah,
How much older was the oldest person that you've dated?
like 15, 17 years.
Okay. What did you find as far as the disparity between dating somebody that much older versus somebody that was your age or younger?
Well, I was younger at the time, so when they were older, I feel like we were just in different boats. I was still like in my
Party phase?
Yeah, party phase. He was like over that, and I was like, oh, it's not gonna work out. As somebody my age, it's hard because they're still like, I feel like they're young. They act younger than me, so it was like, okay, I was like a little ahead of them. I had more ambition than them, and they were just kind of like going through with life.
Okay. And how long did that one last, the older guy?
Like about 2 years, 2 years and a half.
A little bit of time.
Yeah. Then we just kind of maturely decided to separate because I was still going to school. He was like ready to travel, and obviously because of school I couldn't travel, so it was just better to part ways.
And then your guy now, is he much older than you or is he?
Yes, we actually have a 12-year gap.
And this is great news for the men who typically date younger.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm 28, he's 40.
Wow, okay.
So it's a good gap. I'm actually turning 29 in a few days, so it's 11 years technically.
So how's that been dating somebody that's in their 40s already?
I actually don't feel it as much because we just are on the same wavelength in terms of just finding a healthy foundation overall, and that's basically the core value in this case. So I don't really feel it. Ultimately, we don't fight, we don't argue, and if there's something that bothers us, we communicate directly. And I think it comes down to really how we worked on ourselves prior to finding each other.
Is he the oldest guy that you've dated?
Prior to that, my previous partner was actually 12 years older than me too.
Oh wow, okay.
He's actually a little bit older. He just turned 41 like a few days ago. So
Do you kind of seek out older guys that just comes out naturally?
no. So what happened is they didn't look like they were their age.
Okay.
They looked
You look younger.
very much. Yes, correct. Yes. And so it was pretty interesting to see kind of that trend that I had with my previous two partners, and then obviously my first boyfriend. He and I were 2 years apart. Yeah.
Did the older guy, did they try to fool you with their age and not admit that they were as old as they were, or they were honest about
They
it?
were very direct and very honest, both of them. I mean, my previous partner, I think he was the one that actually really broke my heart. Ultimately, it's okay. I mean, because of him, I think I had to really go through a really tough healing journey. Had to hit rock bottom. I think people do really have to hit rock bottom to really rebuild themselves and become a better person. Well, it doesn't have to be a heartbreak necessarily. It can be anything. But ultimately, I think with him, it really taught me a lot about my next relationship. Hence, the healthy
That's helped you.
relationship I have today. Correct. So I'm really grateful for him.
And then your older person, did they lie about their age too, or you kind of already knew?
No, so he looked very young too, and then we kind of. Well, it's funny because I thought he was younger, he thought I was older, and so yeah. So we met, we met dancing, so we didn't kind of like really talked about it until we just kind of went on the date, and after like the third date, it came up. We're like, "How old are you? How old are you?" And he didn't believe me, I didn't believe him, so we had to kind of show each other our IDs. So we were very transparent about it. Yeah.
Now, since you've dated older and you're dating older, does finances, them being able to take care of you financially because they are older, maybe a little bit more established, is that important to you? Is that something that you think would play a factor in whether you'd want to have a long-term relationship with an older person?
I think it's not. It does play a factor, but it's not like the first important thing on my list because I know like what I have, I've worked for, and I can sustain myself. It's not like I just want somebody to bring to the table too, not to just provide fully.
So you don't look at that as a requirement, like a deal breaker.
Yeah, no, but I for sure want somebody that can also add on to it and not subtract.
Okay, what about you?
I definitely agree as well. My partner, like I said, we were technically 11 years apart. I just say 12, but I'm turning 29 soon. I think it's important to build a foundation together ultimately. So in terms of finances, we both have to build that foundation together. So I would say merge our finances to be stable. I think right now with the economy being really tough, I would say we're going through turbulent times at this time. I don't think one person can really necessarily maintain another person. I think it has to be kind of a team building situation in order to buy a house, especially with these interest rates
And blah, blah, blah.
so I think for me personally, ultimately, like she said, it's all about, it's not really necessarily the first thing on my list. It's more about kind of merging our foundations together, including our finances.
So, with modern dating today, a lot of young women look at men as being the provider. They want somebody that's why I was asking if that's a deal breaker. They want to be taken care of, spend $200-300 on the first date, all that, shopping, all that stuff, right? Where they can just sit home and look pretty. So what do you think is wrong with that mentality, or why do you think there's so many women, younger women now, looking for that kind of guy and it's not working out for them?
Well, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. I think everybody has a preference, but I think it's kind of a reversal history thing going on right here because back in the 50s, the women didn't really have to necessarily work.
Right.
Men would essentially provide.
That whole traditional male-female.
So they kind of want to live the traditional household of women being in the house, being the wife, being the mom, just being a stay-at-home mom, and then the man just really providing. But like I said, in this economy, it's not really necessarily a really realistic thing in my eyes, I think, because how expensive things are with inflation and so forth. But who knows? I mean, if they bump into a really wealthy person who is financially, or even someone that's financially stable that can provide for both of them, great, good for them. But if not, I think it's important for them to really be prepared to buckle down and work together to build that foundation. Otherwise, I think they won't really end up with anybody. They will just keep jumping and jumping and jumping to one day to the next day to the next day. And they have all these great qualities, and you're really going to define their financial status based on the person they are. You can actually meet someone who's financially stable and be the crappiest guy in the universe. So what's the point of having all this money but still being a really crappy person and treating people very poorly? I think for me personally, my values are, all I wanted was a guy that treated me nicely and was very kind. That's it. Finances and stuff, Actually, we'll merge it in. We'll build a plan. We'll build a foundation. We'll
Like
build
you can build an empire.
together. Together. Why not just do that?
Bruh.
Why have somebody great if they have great qualities and a good person and they're financially stable, great. But if not, why would you settle for someone who treats you poorly because they have great financial status? That doesn't make sense to me personally. But I mean, what do you?
What are your thoughts?
The same. I feel like I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody has their preferences, and I think it's just based on how you were raised. There's some people that were raised to, just find that where the man has to provide because that's all they've known. I think like for me, that's not what I'm looking for because I was raised to, provide for myself in order to build, like you said, an empire with somebody. Again, like she said, with this economy, it's very not realistic for that. So you have to find somebody that you can build something with. Again, if they find it, perfect. But if not, I feel like a lot of this new generation is passing on the opportunity just because they're basing on and like, oh, you cannot provide for me if we build a family. Again, I think it's also because the new generation just wants it kind of easy and fast where, like I want somebody to provide for me because I don't want to work for it.
Yeah.
So.
And some generations actually have this ideology, I think, where their first job they expect to make six figures. That's
Right.
not necessarily the deal.
Not always the case.
It's not the case. Even depending on your field, I mean, obviously, if some people are engineers, obviously start in the 60s, 70s, even 80s, even six figures, which is good for them. But there's some that start from the 30s annually, 30K a year,
yep.
and then they gradually
They
build
build up.
Right. And I think the ideology right now, nowadays, with the younger generation, I think they really think that they're going to make six figures on their first job.
Right.
And that's not really the case. You really have to work really hard to get to where you stand today.
Now, do you feel like social media has played a factor in some of these unrealistic expectations because what they see out there, live fast, enjoy life, have this big, presentation to show you have it all together?
Yeah,
In my opinion, I think social media is really fake. I think
Right.
you can show like a view of like a backyard and it's not really your backyard.
Right.
I mean, I even looked into some articles. I love researching and reading. There's a specific person that I don't really know their names, but they are an influencer. They would Airbnb a specific location, a place in a very wealthy neighborhood and kind of come off as, oh, this is my home.
Presented as theirs?
Correct.
Wow,
But in
okay.
reality, it wasn't really their home.
Yeah.
So I would say the perception of social media has a huge influence on these younger generations, even ourselves included, right? As we are part
You
of
can
the
get affected
generation.
by it too, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's really important for them to really think realistically,
Yeah.
and I think it's not really a realistic thing in this case.
What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
The same. I work with kids, so now I remember before when you would ask a kid like, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" Everybody would say, doctor, dentist. Now everybody says an influencer because
Be a TikToker.
yeah, TikToker, influencer. Because I feel like with this new generation, they feel like just being out there in social media that will make them money very fast. Again, new generations just want it fast and easy because they have this expectation that once they start a career or something, they make all the money. And it's not like you're supposed to work hard for it. And I think that's what the new generations are forgetting, to work hard. That's why some of the new generations just look for that secure economy side.
So with the fast money, you don't think they're looking at it long term, right? They're just seeing what they can get immediately in front of them versus what they could potentially have 10, 15 years down the line.
I feel like the new generation wants it easy, but then they also forget that how easy it comes, it can leave. And they forget that, it's about keeping that momentum and investing and all of that. They just want to see the money in their bank and go and spend it.
Right. And I mean, even ultimately, even with my partner and I right now, we're hoping to get married maybe in a few years, maybe a year or two. And we're actually planning our finances too. I'm already thinking about life insurance, retirement plans, even though I have a way long trek for that to happen. And that's an issue maybe what the younger population are kind of struggling with.
Yeah.
Like Abigail said here, they think that with the easy, fast money, that's all they need.
Yeah. And that'll
Long
last
term-
forever, but
Correct, but it won't. It won't. What about your retirement plan? What if you get sick in the next 20, 30 years? What's going to happen to you? Do you have a long-term retirement plan? Do you have a 401k plan? Where are your investments going? Etc. So it's really important for them to really think about long-term goals.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, early 20s, teenage years, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Awesome. You want to be an influencer? Do it. I would say shoot for the moon, land on the stars.
That's a good phrase. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think like the new generations think that TikTok, Instagram's gonna be there forever, but they forget just how MySpace came and left.
Yeah.
Facebook, the same, it's dying out. They feel like TikTok, Instagram is gonna be there forever. They're gonna make their money there forever, but they forget a new app can come in and take over, or they can start, dying down. And what are they gonna do now? They have no career. They didn't invest the money.
No skills.
No skills. So what's gonna happen there?
My good friend's son, he's going to be a freshman in high school, and his dad asked him, what do you want to be, career-wise? And he said, I want to be a TikToker. I want to be an influencer. So yeah, because it's out there, especially for the kids now. They don't know how to go out and play anymore. It's all about the screen that's in front of them,
And I know my kids, when I have kids, they're not touching a smartphone or a tablet.
Yeah. All right, lady. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. You guys were awesome.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
My name's Ollie.
Ollie.
Yep.
Okay.
And it was Abigail, right?
Yeah.
And then
Karen.
So our YouTube channel is called Two Bald Dude TV. So look us up. We post every weekend. So next Saturday, you'll probably see this be posted up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. So I appreciate it.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Thank you. So much.
Appreciate it. All right.
It's typically what older men represent that women find very attractive. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Two bald dudes.
I used to be on camera. It's a lot of work. I used to do it for 7 years, and it's a lot of work. So the fact that you have a cameraman, great. Most of the journalists don't have a cameraman. I used to do one-man band. Yeah, one-man band. We would go live, write our scripts, and try to pitch 3 stories a day. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, what is your name?
Jeremy.
I'm sorry?
Jeremy.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for your hard work, Jeremy.
All right. Thank you,
Yes,
ladies. Have a
take
good
care.
night.
Take care.
All right.